everybody. We are back with another edition of KC Music Talk. I am here today with a musician and bass player, Jim Kent. How you doing, man?
Hey, Rob. How are you? It's an honor.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for coming on. I met you a couple of years ago, and we've kind of been friends and seen each other out playing and stuff. And
We've done gigs together.
yeah, we have done gigs together. And definitely got to talking, and we've had many good music conversations about all sorts of things, appropriate and not appropriate.
It's the
And
business.
so, yes, exactly. And so I want to bring you on and see what you think about some of these things that we've been talking about on the show. So the first thing I wanted to ask you about was that you are not originally from here.
No.
Yeah, and you are from the Northeast, right?
Yes. I moved to Kansas City in January 2013.
Mm-hmm.
I moved in downtown, 700 Broadway. Had a loft apartment,
Mm-hmm.
and I could walk to the Phoenix.
Yeah, that was nice.
And I moved here from New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I was living when I came here. But I lived all over the Northeast and played all over the Northeast.
Mhm.
And I moved here in 2013 because of family, and I just kind of had no idea what Kansas City was like. Like
Mhm.
everybody else on the coast, they think there's still cows running down the street. and
Yeah.
People wear bib overalls. and I got here, and my friends back home still think that.
Yeah, wow.
And I got here and said, wow, this, before you know it, I started playing. I went over to the Phoenix on a Monday night, met Tom DeMasters and Millie Edwards, and I was jamming with them every Monday night for what, 3-4 years?
Yep.
That's where we met.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's a lot of music in this town. That's why I'm still here.
There's not cows running everywhere.
No, there's not this good steak and barbecue though.
There is. There's some really
Not
good
like the North,
barbecue.
but there's no seafood.
Yeah. It's pretty it's pretty weak seafood here. So you were obviously playing music out there in the Northeast.
Oh yeah,
for
since
a while.
the 70s.
Yeah, since the 70s. So tell everybody, like a lot of people that are watching this in town kind of have a pretty good idea of what Kansas City scene is like. Tell me a little bit about the Northeast.
Well, it's a lot different than here. One of the things that blew me away and still does here is I have a lot of bass player friends here.
Mm-hmm.
Very good bass player friends, and I see them. We talk to each other. If I can't do a gig, I tell them. They tell the other person. We kind of network.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like that in the Northeast. It's very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't play in 3 or 4 different bands. You stay in 1 or 2 bands at the most in the Northeast, and you try to gig as much as you can with those bands.
Mm.
It's very competitive, almost to a point where you're looking at other bass players as the enemy almost. I had no real bass player friends out there.
Wow.
I knew a few that I got along, but not really that I could be friends with. Here, I could be sitting at the bar with Paul Greenlease, Derek.
Yep.
It can go down the list of these people, sitting there having a beer with them, talking about music. You don't do that in the Northeast, especially in New York.
Wow.
New York's a whole nother world.
Yeah, it's not like that here, is it?
No, it's not.
And I know, like, a lot of us get friends with the other instruments of people a lot because that's because you're never playing a gig with another bass player, right? You're
That
always
is
doing,
true. That's
you know,
another reason why, too.
yeah.
But, you know,
And-
we can get together and jam as a couple of bass
Sure.
players, but yeah.
But you see them at the jams, right? And so
Yeah.
you're talking to them at the jams, but you're never playing with them, you
Well,
know?
I
so-
did that one night with Derek, old number 5s. We did the chicken.
Yeah, right.
And I go, you go high, I'll go low, I'll go
Yeah,
low, you go high. And
that's
we'll just,
funny,
we'll
yeah.
just, mess around. But it's not the common thing, no.
Yeah, that is funny, man. So in this town, we have, obviously blues and jazz are pretty much king, you know, I mean, they're the dominant genres in town. We have a lot of other stuff too, but what's the Northeast like for genre-wise? What's...
It's a lot of classic rock.
Mm,
Now, I'm talking 2012,
sure.
2013. That's 4 or 5 years. It might have changed since then.
Yeah.
The last band I was playing with in the Northeast was a Tower of Power tribute band.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And we were like a 10-piece band, and we did a lot of Tower of Power, like 14,
Yeah.
15 Tower of Power.
Wow.
We had some horn players from, these guys were hellacious players. I mean,
Yeah,
great
yeah.
players. The band was great. But it's a lot of classic rock. You do have some blues bands. There are some guys out there. And, one guy named, forget his first name, something Gibson. There was some blues guys out there. But a lot of classic rock. closer you get to Boston, the more jazz you're going to hit because of Berklee School of Music. But
Oh,
also, the
okay.
harder it is, it's hard to gig in Boston. A lot of Boston people come up to New Hampshire or they go to Rhode Island. They'll gig in Nashua, Concord. I've seen them go all the way up to Laconia. Laconia
Yeah.
is in the middle of the state, has a really good jazz club. Or they go to Rhode Island because there's just so much competition in the city. And you got these little Berklee kids that'll play for free,
Yeah.
you know, and they're great players. So it's a lot of people outside the city.
What do you think about that? Them playing for free?
Well, when you're 17 or 18, you're full of testosterone, and you and I didn't do that. We were 17. We're just happy to be playing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And
So
those guys coming out of the Berklee school, they're pretty good, right? I mean, they're pretty decent players, you know. So they're
I studied
getting to
there
play
for a while, but I didn't go there.
Yeah.
But I did study with one of the professors there for 3
Oh, really?
years. Yeah, and he helped me out a lot.
yeah.
I actually owe a lot to him. He got me into reading music. He got me into doing shows. He got me into playing jazz. And,
Cool, man.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at that time, I mean, those kids are getting to do gigs for free, but they don't sound like BS gigs. You know, they're getting to play with some decent players and stuff, so, like, why not, I guess?
Well, you know, it's like the really hot players get together. Like, you know,
Sure.
17, 18.
Yeah.
It's a clique, just like everything else. And they get these little groups that run around. And, of course, then again, I'm talking a long time ago, but I doubt it has changed much since
Yeah,
then. And I still talk to friends back home, and they're still playing the same stuff.
yeah.
You know, little Annie and the Orphans, one of the bands. I mean, the Rusty Rockstar Roadshow, you know, stuff like that. It's just...
Band names are silly, man. Everybody comes up with these ridiculous band names.
The Rusty Rockstar Roadshow. Actually, it's not bad.
Yeah, that's funny.
I played with them for about 3 years.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was a good gig.
It's cool. So with that last question on that, I guess, is that I know I've heard stories about like Austin, for example, and they'll talk about you have a decent sized band and a decent sized venue. What they'll try to do is they'll try to hire like 3-4 bands in a night, and they'll make you buy tickets, right? So the band, or they give the band like 70 tickets or something.
They do that. Yeah.
You go sell them for $10 a pop, and then you come back. So let's say you sell 20 tickets, so you have this $200. Then you come back, and then the 55 tickets or 50 tickets that you didn't sell, you've got to give $3 back to them on every ticket. So 50 times 3, so you've got to give the bar owner $150 out of your 200, and then you make $50. And then you have tips and stuff, but they make you sell tickets, and you're getting paid off of the tickets, or they talk about like what you were saying in New York, where everybody will go just play a gig for free because it's so cutthroat. That's really different from how we have in Kansas City, right? I mean, it's still Wild West out here where you can go in and make $100 gig easy, right? I mean, like...
Oh, yeah, well, I just played... Mike Bourne's a guitar player I just met. I played with him last Thursday at the Quaff. I was filling in for Paul Greenlease. And we were sitting out front, and there was a fellow there from Austin. And he was talking about... He just came from Austin. Said the music scene in Austin is a lot like what you just explained.
Yeah.
And we just played over in Topeka and walked out with a $100 bill in my pocket. You know, and and they were a pretty good band. You know, it was a lot of fun.
I mean, but you do that math, sell your 70 tickets. I mean, that's $700 if you do that. If you do that work and you have these fans or whatever.
$12.50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I mean, you already explained it, but is there still a lot of gigs in Boston, or is it so cutthroat that's really hard for anybody to
get
in?
Boston, I used to play there a lot in the 80s. And I used to play 5-6 nights a week in the same club.
Yeah, right. Wow.
In the good old days.
Yeah.
You know, 4 or 5, New Bedford used to be big. Providence, Rhode Island was big. Out Framingham, all around Boston, Cambridge. You could get a gig in there. It was pretty good. But you had to be a good band.
Sure.
You couldn't go in there and start calling out songs and a shuffle and G and
you
know, you had to be polished. You had to be heard. You had to work at it.
Yeah.
But I would assume it still is like that. It always was like that in the 70s. It was like that in 2000. I got friends of mine who play in Boston still. I talk to them, and I think it still is a lot of competition there.
Yeah.
But you can make money as we always do, like the private functions and the
Right.
weddings, if you get those. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Cool, man. So next thing I wanted to talk to you about is like I had a kind of kinship with you, or had kind of a connection with you in regards to that. I really love to go to all of the jams, and not just the jams, but like I'm just really interested in a lot of different kinds of music.
Yeah.
And so I definitely had a big connection with the kind of blues scene in town. I've been to many jams and stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
But I also love jazz, as you do too. And so at least when I was first into town, I went to a lot of the jazz jams, but I got offered a couple times to do like jazz duos and things like that, and actually play some real jazz gigs. You and I are about the only ones that I really see going to both the jazz jams or at least gigging in both of those kind of scenes in town. What do you find kind of a little bit of a difference between the jazz scene here and the blues scene? Like, how are you? What do you?
Oh, you mean here in Kansas City?
Right, in Kansas City.
Well, I don't go to that many jams as I used to. Like when I first moved here, I went to all the jams. But yeah, the jazz jams, like if you go to the Foundation, the Blue Room Monday night jams, or the California, those jazz jams there. Yeah, you gotta kind of know what tunes they're gonna do, just like you do here with the blues.
Right.
Or you gotta be able to read really good, or pull up stuff really good, or you have your iPad and you be able to read charts. And I'll never forget the time hosting the Blue Room jam one night. Steve Lambert came in and called out a John Coltrane tune that I've never even played before.
Right.
And then halfway through it, everyone looked at me like, "Okay, it's your turn to solo." So it's you're gonna get your butt kicked unless you're really, really good.
Right.
And that's why I don't go to jazz jams that much anymore, because I've just been out of it. I've been focusing on this other area that I've been doing the last 5 or 6 months with this young man that I'm working with. And I'm just not doing that much jazz. And I think the last time I played the Foundation was about 2 months ago with Pete Cole and Ernest Melton.
Yeah.
I hosted down there. And also one night I got a call with Eddie Moore to cover a jam at the California. And let me tell you, that was an education. Yeah.
Throwing the originals, right? Didn't you say that?
Yeah, throwing a chart Chico, and I'm like, is it a ballad? What is it?
Yeah.
You hear this? Yeah.
Deal with it. Yeah.
But the blues, you and I both know what it's the whole key to going to the blues jams in Kansas City is you pray you're going to get a good drummer.
Yeah.
And you pray you're going to get a good guitar player.
Yeah.
And then all's right in the world.
Right.
And I don't envy the guys who run the jams in this town. It is a hard job.
Yeah.
I think Coyote Bill does a great job. Brandon does a great job of balancing the people.
Yeah.
If you put a really good player such as you or whoever up there with some people who are not that good, you're probably not going to come back. You may let it go once or twice. So you got to kind of do a balancing act.
Yeah.
But it's important for people to meet other people. That's how I met people. You know, if it wasn't for Paul Greenlease and those people, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you now. And I met them at jams. They're very good to me, very good people.
Yeah, I think I would personally put Dave's Jam in that category. I think he does a pretty good job, you know.
I can go down the list.
Sure,
I would say the top 3 are probably Dave and Coyote Bill and Brandon, because they do it a lot, and they know the talent level of people in town. They could look out in the audience and say, okay, and it's great. Very rarely is it bad.
Yeah, right. So let's just talk about that now. I guess the jams. So first of all, you know, we need to say that if you don't know what an open jam is, you go and you play, or you go and you
sign up on a sheet.
You sign up on a sheet, and you have a house band there, which is like the band that's running it, and then all these random musicians come in. It's sort of like an open mic night, and it's a hodgepodge of different people every time. So you might get up with these 3 guys, and then you're on bass. And then the house band drummer gets up with 2 other people, and then you're playing like 3 songs a piece, and then those 2 guys get off, the house band guitar player, and then it's just a hodgepodge every time, right?
Yeah. And that's what I did when I moved here in 2013.
Yeah.
You know, I used to go out to the Majestic and stand with Mark Lowry every
Yeah.
Sunday night.
Yeah, right. Because he had one. Yeah, he had
Yeah.
one for a bit there, and why? And so first of all, on a positive note, why are the jams so cool?
Cool.
Well, like you just mentioned it. Like, what do they do for networking? In
Oh
town?
well, I mean, that's how I met people. I mean, I remember the old Quasimodos.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the big ones in town. That's
Yeah.
where I met Dave and Paul.
Yep.
And I'm just a new guy in town. You know, someone told me you should go down to Quad, so I go down there, and instead of being threatened by me, which, not that I'm a great player,
Right.
but anytime you're in the Northeast, you see a good player, all of a sudden it's like, he's going
Yeah.
to take my gig.
Yeah.
Paul was more than friendly to me and actually passed my name on to people. Next thing you know, my phone starts ringing.
Yep.
And I start getting gigs. And, you know, you do good on the gigs, and it's just like anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And now I get calls. I'm, matter of fact, leaving Thursday morning for Minneapolis for 4 days
Yeah. Wow.
with a band.
That's cool, man.
You're going out there to play for 4 days and coming back. So,
See, like, and you just mentioned an interesting thing that's probably different here than it is in the Northeast. That Paul has not only his playing reputation, but he has his recommendation reputation.
oh yeah,
As well, right? I mean, so with this whole network that we have here, he can't start giving. You know, if people call him, if to give another name, if he can't do the gig that they're asking him, he can't be giving people scrubs names all day,
well,
right?
last Thursday, Mike Bourne needed a bass player to play at the Quaff and play at Topeka.
Mm-hmm.
Paul usually plays with them. And they said, you know any bass players? He goes, yeah, recommended me. And the guy called me and says, Paul speaks very highly of you.
Mm-hmm.
He says, you're a very good player. I came in there and started playing. He goes, yeah, Paul was right. You're great.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got to...
So that's why, like, or just I guess I'm piggybacking on what we were talking about before about why it's a good idea that we're like this in Kansas City, of the networking and being friendly to everybody, because this happens all the time where people need subs. I mean, every 5 seconds somebody needs a sub in town, you know, and like
Yeah. It's a good time to be a bass player in, too.
Oh, yeah.
You get a lot of calls to play bass. And
Yeah.
I have done everything. I've actually got flown out to Vegas to country gigs, and I've, you know, done the jazz gigs, blues gigs, and, you know, it's been really good.
That's cool, man.
It's been
Yeah.
a long time, man.
Yeah.
I used to do theater work, and that's the next thing I like to do here is do some orchestra theater.
Oh, yeah. That
I
would
used
be
to do that a
pretty
lot
fun.
back in Boston.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then so last thing on the jams that you and I have talked about many times is what would you change about the open jams? You know, if you could only pick.
You're gonna get me in trouble?
Yeah, I'll say it. I ain't scared.
The
You
only
can do
thing
it generally.
start earlier
Mm.
because you look at the age group that's coming out. There are people 40s, 50s, young kids. We got a couple of 14, 15-year-old guitar players coming with their parents. Start at 7. Well, maybe. I know we got one that starts at 9 now in Westport. That's fine. It's, you know, that's always was an institution. It's back now. But I would think maybe start a little early. And, you know, I don't want to get in trouble.
I do.
You know. Let's say it starts at 8 o'clock. You don't play till 9:30. I didn't come there to listen to the house band. I came there to listen to 20, 25 minutes of the house band. You know,
3-4-ish songs or
Yeah.
something like that.
and,
Yeah,
if you look out and you see a bunch of jammers there, just let them up there. I mean, back home we had a jam back in New Hampshire, one night a week, only on Thursday night. The only jam.
Yeah, right.
There were no jam every night of the week.
Yeah.
And the minute I walked through the door, within 5 minutes, I was up on stage. Because get them up here. Well, of course, not a lot of bass players, but
I won't throw you under the bus, but you and I were joking the other day. We were listening to the house band. We're like, I don't want to hear this crap. we were joking.
and I was in the house band.
but
You're gonna get me in trouble.
but what we were meaning is that get the jammers up there.
Right,
you
get
know,
the jammers
the
up there.
house band's wonderful. They're playing awesome, and I want to hear them. But
You get to play a lot of music. You're very good at it, and you're good. And I thankfully, I get to play music too. A lot of people go to jams. This is their only chance they get to play.
Right.
This is important to them. This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
I've been working on this song all week. I want to play it in front of people and see how it goes.
Yeah.
So to them,
Yeah.
a lot of times I go to a jam, I don't even sign up.
Yeah.
You know, I'll say to Bill or whoever, I'll say, if you need me to play. If you got a
Yeah.
lot of bass players, let them play because I play all the time.
Right.
You know, if you need me to play, of course.
That's a cool attitude. That's a cool attitude to
Yeah.
do that. Let the other guys go. I
Because
don't
it's
need
their,
to.
their opportunity. And they're probably looking for a gig. Who knows?
Yeah, right.
You know? I mean, I'm more than happy to sit
And
listen.
in regards to networking, they already know you. You're not going to prove anything
Right,
more
right,
to them
yeah.
at that point, you know, where you have to play with networking. Paul already knows you. All these people, you know, most of the jammers already know some of us that go all the time.
Oh, with the
you know,
regulars.
so
Yeah, we have our regulars. Yeah.
So like last thing on that, and I definitely am gonna try to get you in trouble with this, but so one thing that I get frustrated by is that I agree with you that the mentality of the open jam should be about the jammers. You know, I believe it's not about the house band. If you want it to be the house band, go get a gig, you know, and then you can make the whole night about you. But for some of the guys like us that are a little bit more, at least in town, you know, 3 or 4 year veterans of jams where we kind of can go in and know what we're doing, and know what's
Right.
up. It is a little bit frustrating to kind of go in and I understand it is what it is. I mean, jams aren't a regular band, but you sometimes get this point where, you know, you're getting up with people that not the guys that are decent, you know, that they can logistically get up there and play. They can do their keys and the rhythm, and they can look for solos.
If somebody gets up there is not a really, really great player, as long as I got a good drummer.
Yeah,
And a good singer, fine, let the person, but you know, let me just interject. So, let's look at it this way: the jam starts at 9:00. What time do the jammers usually show up? 9:45, 10:10. If you're the house band, you're playing to an empty room. Why? Because the jammers know you're going to play for an hour before they can get up. So they don't come in till 10:00.
Right. Yeah.
So if you let it be known that we start at 9, we get jammers up at 9:30.
Yeah.
People come in at 9:30. Some people have to get up for work in the morning. They're not rich like you and me. So, you know, they have to get up in the morning. But
yeah. Well, I guess what I'm trying to get at is I that's about one of the biggest things that I get frustrated at is when and Wynton Marsalis, I quote Wynton Marsalis about this because he always talks about kind of the negotiation of music and talking about jazz specifically of you have these different egos and different purposes for being on the stage right now. Some of the drummers like being in front of people, but they don't like taking solos. You know, then you have the prima donna guitar player that wants everybody to know who they are and take over the band and then so I think jams are the perfect example of that, where you have some guy that's they've had like 5 beers and they get up there and they're only having fun. You know, they don't care if this is good or not right now. They're only having fun.
Right.
House band's actually getting paid tonight, you know, so they're wanting the thing to actually kind of go well. You know, they want the jam to keep going.
Well, they also want it to be good so good players come back.
Exactly.
You know, if I go to a jam and it's not really good players, I'm not going to go there.
Right. And then you'd have somebody like me who I have to 100% admit, I'm going in there to hustle. I'm telling everybody, right? I'm trying to get gigs. I want to get known. I want everybody in this room to see who I am. I'll fully admit it. And so when I'm trying to make this a pretty good musical experience, there's some other guys that think this is happy fun time, or they are so clueless about their abilities of how good they are that, you know, I know.
Careful where you're going.
I know. And that's my opinion, you know. And so what if you wanna you know plead the fifth, that's fine, you know. But do you think there should be a at least low baseline of ability before you get up at a jam? And feel free to plead the fifth if you need to, because
honestly, I think anyone should be allowed to get up there because it's there for people. And if they want to get up there and they're not okay, they're not very good. They come back next week, they're a little bit better. They come back, they're a little bit better. They're working on it. I applaud that. It's the ones that sound like they did when I moved here in 2013. They're doing the same songs. They sound exactly the same they did in 2013.
What about them?
Huh? You're gonna get me in trouble. Why are you trying to get me in trouble? Let's go after the guy. Let's go after the Northerners, shall we?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we can move on if you want.
You gotta take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
You know, in all honesty, the reason why I go to jams is for socializing.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I get up and play and stuff. I really, honestly, music is not 100% of my life. There's other things I like to do. I enjoy music, playing music. Yeah. To me, it's a social thing to go out.
It is wonderful for that, isn't it? I mean, it's just great to
You can remember, I'm from the Northeast. I will go into a place, let's say Monday night at Westport Saloon, right? Chris Schnebel will walk across the room and shake my hand. Yeah. People come up and shake my hand. Right. How you doing, Jim? And they're honestly happy to see me.
Yeah.
In the Northeast.
Yeah.
They all look at you like, you want something? It took me a while to get used to that.
Yeah, that's tough, yeah.
But even to this day, if I walk into a place, Mark Lowry will walk across the room and shake my hand.
Yeah.
It's a nice thing.
Right.
And that's a lot of things. I go down to Knuckleheads on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Just to see people.
Well,
and
yeah,
bug Jack.
we'll
Bug Jack.
Yeah, Jack's a nice guy.
You got a bug Jack though.
Yeah. Give him crap. You know.
When he looks at you like this.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show is that topic that I was trying to get out of you. That is one of the things in our musical culture that's like a little bit of the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about.
I've never seen so many jams in my life till I moved here.
Yeah.
They don't exist in the Northeast.
Yeah. There's a crap load here.
Neither does tip buckets. Once I said, "What is that?" He goes, "People put money in it." I goes, "What do you mean they put money in it? It's tips. You don't have tip buckets in the Northeast."
Wow, that's really interesting.
No, I didn't know what that was at first, and I said, "They do? They put money in there?
There's like $80 in there."
There's $80 in there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
But no, that's the first time I ran across that.
Yeah.
And it's different that way.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on from that. What is another thing that I'm kind of fascinated by is the idea of the different roles of different people in the band. Like musically, we're talking. What is the role of and you're a bass player, right? I think we said that, but
I play guitar too, but I don't feel comfortable. I feel comfortable with a bass in my hands.
Yeah. What's the role of a bass in a band?
Well, there's different explanations of it. My thought process is when I play bass is that it's a connection between the chordal instruments and the rhythm, and as a melodic connection between the two.
Yeah.
I'm leading the chord changes in. Like if we're gonna go from a G to a C, I can lead it in with either a chromatic or diatonic approach. Or I can do different ways of leading it in. But mainly it's locking in with the drummer. Whenever I play, I always sit up so I can see the drummer's foot. I want to see his foot on the bass drum. Because a lot of times I'll just play the same thing he's playing. Because when people dance, they're not dancing to Victor Wooten, they're dancing to this.
Yeah.
You know, and when I used to teach, I used to put my finger on my bass on the 7th fret. I said, "You see this down here? That's the money zone.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to make your money. You want to play down here. You don't want to solo, fine, you're going to get your shot." But I was guilty of it as like every other bass player in the world when I was young. I thought I was the next Jocko. And all that. I still do it once in a while. You see me. I admit it. Sometimes I get a little off the wall. But you're there to drive that band. It's to drive the band. Never play a weak note on the bass. You're there. Even if it's the ballad, turn your volume down. Play strong notes. The drummer is the locomotive, and the bass player shoveling the coal into the engine. That's what it is.
Yeah, I love that analogy, man.
You're there to get that going, man. And you get a good drummer and a good bass player. Yeah, you're the fuel to get that drummer going.
I like that. I like what you said too. I never even considered that what you just said about you're the connection between the chordal stuff and the rhythm stuff, because you're both, right? You're driving the rhythm pretty hard, but you're also, driving the chords kind of hard too. I never thought about that. That's a really good.
And as I'm getting older now, I'm playing more or less. It's not illegal for a bass player to play a whole note. It's not illegal.
Yeah.
And I find myself playing more more, especially in the trio situation I'm in now. When I have two busy players, a drummer and a guitar player. You know Taylor Smith.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, he's a phenomenal player. He gets going and he's gone, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he's just into himself.
Right.
And the drummer's from Detroit, so he's doing his, I don't know what you call it, slam bam, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to hold it together. And I'm finding that doing more of this kind of energy into your hands. I see people moving around.
Right.
If you see me play, I don't move. I look like actually like I'm bored to death. But it's channeling the energy into your hands, keeping time with your hands. Because when I play, that's kind of what I do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm trying to keep the rhythm feel going in the band as a bass player. I know it's kind of.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. What do you? Another thing that I've seen a lot with a lot of bass players and drummers both do this is. What do you think about general like busyness of bass players, like playing fills every second? You know, what do you think about that?
You're gonna get me in trouble again. No.
You don't like that? Yeah.
No, not at all. It's fine, but I went and saw Stanley Clark in New York City, and he had Bono, the bass player, Associate Next Jocko. And he was just doing this all night with the thumb.
Yeah.
You know, he was great. But after about the third song, I'm like, okay. Then I went and saw Victor Wooten, Marcus Miller, and Stanley Clark in concert. SMV. Three bass players with a drummer. And let me tell you something. They didn't do that all night. They were playing music.
Yes.
They were not doing all this noodling.
Yeah.
Noodling's if you want to do a solo, fine. But your job is to keep that going. Like I said, they're not dancing to this. They're dancing to this. Especially if you're in a blues band.
Right.
You wanna play around with that arpeggio. You want to outline that chord, that 7 chord. You want to, you want to do that, and you want to focus with the drummer. It's about that groove. If you don't have the groove, it's over. But it's impressive, great, I'm wonderful that you can do that. Great, 30-second notes. That's great, awesome, man, fantastic. Wow, jeez, that's awesome. Oh man, you can slap better than Victor. Fantastic, man. Okay, now play me a blues. Oh, what? You can't. What?
Yeah.
Here, let me. It's about working together as a unit. And a lot of people think it's about them, and I call the 3 T's in bass playing: tone, technique, and time. Tone, is it pleasing to the ear?
Yeah.
It's not harsh, it's not loud, it's not distorted. Pedals don't belong on a bass. Sorry, they don't. Okay? It's about the tone. Listen to Marcus Miller, okay? Technique, are you like playing real hard? Are you like this? Are you like, are you like playing over certain parts? Are you not using dynamics? And the last one is time. Are you too busy?
Yeah.
Are you noodling? I saw a guy noodling over Johnny Cash, Folsom Prison. He's up there like he's Jocko playing Folsom Prison. I'm like, are you kidding? I mean, come on.
Well, his brain can't handle yeah, I mean, he can't.
But that's
he's gonna explode.
When I did that job in Vegas on the country band. Guess what I did for 5 nights in Las Vegas? Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a song on Merle Haggard. I'm gonna do a lot of George Strait.
Right.
That's the gig. If you don't want to do it, don't take the gig. It's a country song. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
You should be a guitar player. You should not be a bass player. You need to be a guitar player. You've got to be wired like a bass player. You've got to think like a bass player, not a guitar player.
Yeah.
It's a different mindset.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm getting a little weird here.
No, I completely agree with what you're saying.
And when I play guitar like a bass player. I used to play in a Django, a duo. I used to play guitar and bass in a Django duo. All the Django stuff.
Yeah.
And the guitar player kept saying, you got to do some solos. So I started working on some solos, and he goes, you solo like a bass player. To me, it was a compliment.
Oh yeah. Well, it probably was a compliment. I mean, and like I find that always funny that about like when I think of like how much to play, and then also like when are you choosing this how much to play? I think that's what sets a lot of people apart. I like to think of like is time is like in regards to like kind of a level of musician. There's a lot of people that sort of have some okay time. They can kind of play with the band. And then when you get some sort of kind of technique and touch in there of kind of deciding, be able to kind of adjust a little bit to like a ballad or a fast something, is kind of, that makes you kind of in this professional level. But then the people that are way above that, I think, are the people that like know how much to play and know when to play.
They can feel it needs something.
Yes, and they can feel when it needs something, and they can adjust to their playing in the different situations that they're in. Like you were mentioning the idea of what do I play over solos, and then what do I play when I'm not soloing, you know, and be able to adjust that and go off in your 19th fret and go nuts over your solo. Do it, you know.
Well,
but then when you go back,
even if you're going to do a solo, you don't want to go totally. You want to leave space, miles.
Right.
Miles.
Yeah,
It's nothing. It's all about space.
Right.
If I'm doing, all right, well that's cool. But if I start going, you're like, you're telling a story. When you solo, you're supposed to be telling a story.
Yeah.
That's what Eric Clapton says. I'm telling a story.
More lyrical. You're talking about playing
rather
more
than
lyrical instead
all
of
this
notey,
ambitious crap.
Right. Wait, and then last thing on this, what do you? I've always found that, like, for instance, when I'm kind of choosing to come in and out with my violin, about, you know, you guys are kind of more playing a little bit more straight through, and than what I would be in a country band, because they're like vocals, I'm like doing nothing, and then I come in with my stupid little 4-note riff, and then I come back out and then play in out.
Yeah.
And I found that, like, when I choose stuff like that, it actually, in regards to my busyness, I find that it changes even within the different bands that I'm in. Even if I'm like playing country, for instance, if I'm in like a 4-piece, there's a lot, it feels like to me that there's a lot more room in a 4-piece to play stuff, as opposed when I go over to my 8-piece, right, and there's a steel and me and lead guitar and rhythm guitar and there. What would you think the difference would be like if you have like a trio?
Here's a classic case right here. I'm in a trio now, right, with the Taylor Smith Band.
Yeah.
And we just won the IBC at Kansas City.
That's cool, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's sweet.
I mean, I'm so happy for Taylor. He's 22 years old. He is a absolute prodigy on the guitar and vocalist, and he's just a great person. And I want to see him do well. I'm so happy that that came through him.
Very cool.
And it's a trio. Him, myself, and a drummer. I used to play in a 10-piece Tower of Power band, like tribute band. I played more in that 10-piece than I do in this one. I played less.
Wow.
It's more spatial for me with this, because I'm focusing on holding it together. Because Taylor is doing his playing, because he'll go right from we'll go from Allman Brothers to Miles to Wayne Shorter to Chick Corea.
Wow.
In the middle of a song, we'll go into. We have one song where actually I do a Bach minuet suite in the middle of the song. Okay, so we're doing all kinds of stuff, and it's a lot. I'm focusing more on driving the beat and playing less notes and focusing more on that. As I was talking about.
Oh, wow. So that's kind of opposite from what I was saying, at least with the number of players. But it's just
people
the
think in a
difference
trio
of the
you got to
band.
play more. No, you have more space in a trio. You use space more in a trio. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of notes. So you got to be a little more creative.
That's interesting.
A drum fill, a bass fill, a guitar fill. You know, to fill those holes that you only have a 3-piece. So if you do like dunka 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 all night, it's going to get boring. But if you're mixing it up, like we try to do a lot of different stuff, and we're trying to bring that into what we're doing. Yeah. That's why we're going to be working on a CD as soon as he gets back. He's in North Carolina now, and we're hoping to come up with some new stuff. And some of his writing is just really beautiful stuff.
Yeah,
he's very gifted, and I'm looking forward to it.
That's cool.
But as far as I think you play less in a trio, you should. Actually.
Wow. So
listen to Cream. Listen to the studio stuff by Cream, not the live stuff.
Right.
But the studios. Listen to Jack Bruce.
That's interesting,
and Ginger Baker.
Because I guess in our like with the band I was thinking of in my head that I played in, the reason why I would play even way less in that band, the reason why I'm doing that is because, like, for instance, with this space where you have your sing and then space, sing, space, that space, there's like 5 people waiting to play some little fill in that space. If we all 5 play a fill, it's just dumb, right? I mean, we're all blocking each other. So that's what I guess I was thinking of when I mean, like, I'm playing less in an 8-piece. Because, like, for example, I've done this new country band that I'm in where this guitar player's not really doing fills. He's just literally doing chords the whole time. And so basically it's me playing fills the entire night. So I have like a huge amount of liberty to play as many as I want to play. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what I guess
But you want to make it, you want to be creative. You don't want to be just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Right, no, yeah, and believe me, you know, that's all I'm thinking about because the songs are just, you know, music is so easy for me to play. I'm thinking of when do I want to throw this one and not this time.
Dynamics, you got to use dynamics a lot. When you were, I did a lot of work as a duo, like I said, with the Django thing. I did that for 3 years. I was playing upright bass, electric bass, and guitar. Yeah. And we were doing standards, we were doing jazz, and we were doing a lot of Django songs. I was doing just the rhythm, you know, like but you got less pieces you have, more creative you have to be, I think.
Sure. Yeah.
So it doesn't get boring.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good point, man. A couple more here. One that I thought was really interesting that you and I have talked about with some other musicians is the idea that what other occupation do you get to like drink at work? I mean, besides for being like an airplane pilot,
I retired from the postal service. You know that? No. Actually,
a cop, right? You know, airplane pilot.
You mean can legally drink at work? It's not at the extent that we do. Not at the extent that we do.
But it's kind of like it's kind of this weird thing in the musician culture that of kind of substance abuse, right? I mean, it's this thing that we've dealt with for 100 years.
We could play at the Hideout and get ourselves a Jameson on the rocks, but if the waitress has a Jameson on the rocks, she's going to get fired.
Yeah, Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
That's really funny. Like,
or not just the Hideout, but any place.
Right.
Yeah. You know, that could be good. That could be bad. I've seen people, and you have seen them too, where they're just, the more you drink, the worse you're going to play.
Sure.
And you smoke pot, you think you sound great.
Yeah.
But you're the only one.
Who plays better on that?
On what?
Like drugs or alcohol?
If I had a choice,
yeah,
I'd rather have a guy playing on pot than playing on alcohol. If I had a choice.
But I'm making the point, like, do you really play better? You know,
I don't
think anybody plays better. You know, like,
don't.
Yeah.
You know,
they think they do. Yeah.
Frank Zappa never did drugs or alcohol. Never did drugs or alcohol.
Yeah.
He says the only thing dumber than that is television, and that was Frank. And you listen to Frank's music and like, this guy's got to be, you know.
Yeah.
An acid head.
Right.
He
wasn't. Yeah. And like, I guess the thing that I think tricks a lot of younger people like myself, especially in their 20s, is when you hear about these Beatles and Pink Floyds, and then even when you get deeper, like the Charlie Parkers of the world who were kind of addicted to heroin, and then all these other guys playing, and you kind of get tricked into this world of, oh, okay, let's go take some Vicodin to make sure that I'm creative tonight. You know, it's like you kind of get this mentality that you're gonna end up being creative.
Yeah.
And then later you might think that that's dumb, you know, and might realize that that's a falsehood, but accidentally you're now kind of drinking a lot, or you're having a lot of drugs later in your 30s or 40s or whatever, and it's kind of ruined some careers, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You go back to the days you were talking about Charlie Parker. That's a whole different culture then.
Right.
Plus, you're talking about Charlie Parker, John Coltrane. You're talking, you know, Miles Davis was a heroin addict. All those guys.
Ray Charles. I mean,
but it was a different.
Yeah.
They were in a different level and a different society. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know. It doesn't make it right, but they were just somewhere else anyway.
Yeah.
But I see guys that just, even now today's, that just, they drink and they get nasty or they get argumentative on stage.
Yeah.
And the minute you start yelling at me on stage in front of people, I'm out of the band.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
Right.
You got a problem, you talk about it later. You don't do that.
Yeah, that's a good etiquette kind of thing about the band.
Because the audience can pick it up.
Oh, yeah.
I played in a band with two people in the band would be arguing out in front of the club.
Yeah.
And you could see people in the audience kind of looking.
Yeah. It's pretty darn professional, isn't it?
People spot that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying you got to smile like you're on the 700 Club, But you want to look like you're having a good time, even though I don't. I'm guilty of that the most. It's hard for me to smile, have a good time. I am, but I just don't look it.
Club owners see it too, don't they?
Yes, they do. They don't want to see you up in New Hampshire. I don't know. In New Hampshire, you're not allowed to have alcohol on stage.
Yeah, good for a while. Yeah.
You're not allowed to have it on stage. One night we were playing and the DEA came in and caught the band and they fined the club.
Wow.
Because the guys in the band had drinks on the stage.
Wow.
In casinos.
DEA.
When you play in a casino, well, alcohol, tobacco, ATF,
Right.
I'm sorry.
ATF, but
ATF,
still,
I'm sorry.
ATF in the club.
Oh, they just come swooping in. And
Wow.
the casinos, you're not allowed to drink
Yeah, well,
when you're playing. Cruise ships, you're not allowed to drink while you're playing.
they want it to professional. I don't blame them whatsoever.
I want it professional. I've been wanting that since I moved here. I've been looking for that.
Wow.
We get up there and we know we're going to kick ass and we go up there and we do it. We're not just trying to pull it out of our butt hoping it's going to go good.
Yeah.
You know it's going to go good.
Yeah. And tiny last thing on that, one of our guys at Wichita State, the guitar instructor at Wichita State, told a lot of us because we were all, smoking pot and we were all in our thing, and he was like, you know what? I don't know any major gigger in the area that's still smoking pot. Because he did it too, right? I mean, he was he's whatever, and he was, he'd quit for years, the teacher had, but he was kind of telling us, he's like, man, I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but name me a big gigger who's got his crap together, who's still smoking pot. He's like, name them, and we're like, what? But and he's like, yep, because there is, the most of the guys that are got their crap together and they're gigging and they have their they're not flaky. They call you back for gigs. And they have their stuff together. A lot of them are not really drunks anymore, and they're not really smoking pot anymore.
When I was in that Tower of Power band, one of the guys, trumpet players, Harry Nightcap, was Tom Jones's trumpet player, and he's now the music director on the QE2. He can name any cruise ship he wants. Well, he works with like Elton John, all these big name people. That man can drink. I mean, he pounds them down when the gig is over.
Yes, and he has the
when
discipline
he's not
there,
practicing. When he's got to work on stuff, he doesn't drink. But hey man, let's go out for some drinks. We'll go out and get hammered. But I know a lot of people like that.
He works hard, play hard.
He
knows he separates.
Okay, here we go. And now I can go, but I'm working.
Yeah.
And that's why he is where he is.
Yeah.
Also the fact that he's a gifted player, but that's also, but it's hard work.
Yeah. All right, man. Two more for you.
I don't want to be too long in the tooth here.
You're great, man. This is good. Two more quick ones. So, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this channel and this show is to kind of give some of these younger, not the really young kids, but the younger giggers, like the 20-ish-year-olds that are trying to get into this music scene and music business. What is there any advice you can think of that you would want to tell?
Well, don't gig for the sake of gigging. Work on the music that you want to play, that you enjoy. You're not gonna. Chances of you getting rich are very slim. Who knows? You might be the next Taylor Smith, but it's work on like putting something that you can be proud of. That you say, wow, this sounds great, and you have a good time about it. And, basically, how do you get into doing gigs? I wish I knew how to get into getting gigs, because that's a whole business altogether.
Yeah.
But I think if you're true to yourself and you want to play what you think is part of you, and you want to look good, don't go up there looking like a bum, and don't get drunk, don't get stoned. Show up with a clean shirt, sober, ready to play, know the tunes.
Yeah.
It's not brain surgery.
Yeah.
That's it. But have a good work ethic. Don't screw off. I used to practice. Same thing. I used to practice 3-4 hours a day. Now I'm lucky if I do 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's really good, man. A lot of people can barely do that. Barely show up with a nice clean shirt and stay. It's
I have
like
a philosophy about musicians. There's two things about being a good musician, or successful: your ability and your political ability of being able to interact with people. To be able to be a business person about it. Now, to become a really great player, you spend a lot of time alone, a lot of solitude practicing. Right. You're working on music. Now, all of a sudden, you say, okay, now I'm going to go play. Now you got to learn how to deal with club owners, audience, other bandmates. You want to run your own band? Good luck with that. You want
Yeah.
to be a band leader. You got to learn how to
Actually, to use words with other people.
yeah, and be able to interact.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Some people can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
They can't.
Not
Great
good at
players.
that. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But they just wait for things. I can name a few of them that they don't
Yeah.
even want to go
Right.
looking for gigs. They just think they're going to come to them.
Yep.
They think because of their past reputation and past history that people are going to call them on the phone.
Come on, call me.
No.
Call me.
Ain't going to happen.
Right.
You got to. I don't care if you played with George Harrison 30 years ago.
All right.
What did you do last? Like the guys, we won the IBC. I go, good. Enjoy it. Relax the next couple of days. Enjoy it. But then now you got to go to work.
Yeah.
This is what you did Saturday. Today is Thursday.
Yeah.
You got to look at it that way.
Yeah, that's great. Last one I got for you. I always find gig stories hilarious.
Oh, no.
You know, yeah, and everybody usually has about anybody like yourself that's been gigging a while. You know,
A while.
You know, they're yeah.
I was gigging with Jimmy Carter was president.
How PC was that? Was that a good one? A while, you know, everybody usually has kind of some R-rated stories and then some PG-13 kind of stories. You know, you got a funny one?
There's just so many of them. I could go on. I was telling you something like it. I just remember playing in Newport, Rhode Island, at the Officers Club on the Naval Base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's so much nicer than playing in the enlisted men's club. You know, they're cutting roast beef at the end of the line. You know?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All of a sudden, the doors come flying open, and about 30 ensigns come running in because it's the end of Hell Week. They're all in their early 20s. They just went through a whole week of exams. I mean, it's what they call Hell Week in order to get their commission. Well, I'm telling you, I never see these are doing push-ups in the bowls of booze. They're tearing their shirts off. They're chasing women down the halls.
Yeah, right.
It's just like total. It's like Animal House.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I'm just like up there playing. We had a girl singer in the band, and I mean that's just one of them.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
Now I'm thinking of my favorite one was in Rhode Island when we go to play Mother's Day. And I'm playing with a high energy funk band. We got a girl singer.
Yeah.
This guy goes, "Use guys." He calls us use guys. Because use guys are gonna. Use guys dress alike? No. Goes, well, use guys are gonna dress alike for this gig. Because use guys take requests? No, we don't. Use guys are gonna take requests. And he's going on and on and on about that. And I mean, I'm looking at the keyboard player. It's like, this is the wrong gig. You know, this is Mother's Day dinner, brunch thing, right? So we get out front. I go, what are you gonna do? He goes, get in the car. I go, what do you mean? He goes, we're leaving. I go, what do you mean? He goes, we're leaving. We're not gonna set up and play here. Because halfway through the first song, you know, this guy's gonna shoot us.
Yeah.
I mean, you look like he was in 1,000 fights and lost every one.
Oh yeah, sure.
I mean, he looked like somebody out of The Godfather.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, what's his name? What's his name? Sleeps with the Fishes.
Oh.
He looked like Luca Brasi.
Luca Brasi.
You know?
Yeah.
So we get in the car and we drive away. And he calls the agent and says, we're not doing it. Why? He goes, this is a bad booking.
Yeah.
And he was right.
Wow.
But I can imagine, and the guy goes, wait a minute, hold on a second. He comes back and goes, yeah, you're right, they drove away.
Wow. That's funny, man.
Yeah. But it was true, man.
Yeah, that's funny, dude. Well,
I could go on.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But anyways.
You got anything else?
No, I just, like I said, grateful to a lot of people I've met here in this town, and I've only been here like 4.5 years, and I've done. You're one of them. You called me up a few times for gigs, or called me up to this and that, and I appreciate it. And I think this is a great thing, man. I think you get more people in here talking.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I'm really. I think it's a cool idea. I don't know if anybody's done this. I've been asking a lot of people if anybody's done something like this before, which I think is kind of neat. That I thought of it,
but you know, you're sort of like the actor's studio. You're the musician.
Right. Yeah.
Studio.
I mean, that's kind of the idea. Yeah.
I'm nowhere. You start asking those questions like, you know, when you die, what do you want God to say to you?
Well, what's going to be on your tombstone and stuff. You know, but yeah.
You're gonna probably say it's $75 to get in. You got to go through the kitchen.
But yeah, I'm glad you came out and talked. And,
yeah, man.
And
I don't have much to say, but
yeah, I think you got a lot to say, man. Again, this is Jim Kent. You can check him out all over the place in Kansas City.
With the Taylor Smith Band. We're going to be playing at the Phoenix October 21st.
Cool.
Saturday night.
Yeah.
We got a few festivals coming up. Our phone's starting to ring about festivals because of the IVC. And I'm going to be in Memphis in January. And got
Cool,
a CD
man.
coming out in November. So
We got some stuff going on.
trying to do it.
Cool,
Not
man.
really focusing on gigs, but focusing on writing.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for coming,
Yeah,
man.
man,
I
thank
appreciate you coming here. We'll see you guys later. That's it.
So long.
Yep.